pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Fred?
Here.
Colleen? Here.
All right. Well, I guess first, Dave, I need to know, is the contract with or let's put it this way, is the BPA separate from the Village of Mifflin?
No.
When the Village of Mifflin signed a contract with Elite, who is in charge of that? Is it the BPA? Is it the Village of Mifflin?
What do you mean?
The contract to do all the work.
Right, that was signed by, I believe, you as the mayor
Okay.
and the fiscal officer, because that's how contracts for the village are signed.
Okay.
So then there should be in there, and I don't remember the verbiage, but that would be overseen by the mayor, fiscal officer, and until the contract is completed.
Okay.
The BPA just takes care of the plan and the system itself.
Okay. So at the last meeting, when I explained about some things that weren't done, you said I should get a hold of the Elite.
Well, I know that the prior president of the BPA was in contact with Elite trying to get things finished up. That's why I suggested that you
Okay.
get a hold of them.
I'm trying to figure out if it's my responsibility or if it's the village's responsibility.
I would say the sewer itself is your responsibility. So if there's things that aren't done with regard to the sewer, then I would say the BPA should make sure it gets done.
Okay. I guess that's where I wanted to find out. All right. Well, public questions or comments? This is AJ Sturgis. He's from the health department.
Okay, cool. Hi.
These are all councilmen except Brian. He was the former head of the BPA line. You probably know him. And I don't know what we can even go into on the lot 111 since AJ is here.
The lot 111.
Yeah.
Which one's lot 1?
Mine down here, my
Up
house.
here. Well, I don't want to speak for the health department, but as I understood, they served you with a board order. Because as you know, all residences have to be hooked up.
Right.
So,
What do I hook up to, Dave?
the sewer.
Is there a tap?
There's a tap.
That's where you hook it.
Well, my lot requires a grinder. The Village of Mifflin in their ordinance says they will pay for the grinder and the installation. And part of the agreement or the contract with Elite Excavating was that if in return for an easement for a property, the village would bring a lateral to within 3 foot of the residence. If the property needed a grinder tank, they would do that too. As of today, I have neither one on my property, lot 111.
Do you know why that is?
No.
Does the
I
road-
do.
Okay.
When they were setting it up, they asked him if they could put it there and he said yes. And they have documentation.
Well, they need to bring the documentation because I never told them. That's
They
That's
wouldn't
not-
put it there if you wouldn't have told them.
Vicky.
We went through this with
Right.
them several times.
If you look at the prints and the spec book. The spec book ought to say where they're supposed to work. Their area of work was on lots that the owners had gave an easement to. If they think they can put that tank there, how will anybody work on it? Because you have no easement for it.
Why would they put it there if you didn't tell them that they could?
I don't know why they put it there. That's not where I asked them to put it. I asked them to put it on your right of way for the village. They didn't put it there, and they didn't put it on lot 111, which is part of the agreement, the easement, which I consider a contract with the village.
Wouldn't that be a dispute between him and Elite, especially since
Right.
he's
No.
now the
Elite
president
does
of the
have-
BPA?
The homeowner should bear no responsibility of doing the village's job.
But you're now the president of the BPA, so that is your job, correct?
And that's where we're gonna run into issue, I'm sure.
We are, cause that's a conflict.
Is it alright if I say something?
Sure.
Well, I was on the BPA before. I've known, Mr. Craig and I didn't have a lot of conversations on this specific matter other than to some correspondence, I believe by email or a letter. Because I was trying to get Elites to give me information.
Elites is the contractor?
Elites contractor, yes. I talked to both them and the engineer multiple times, face to face, and also on the phone via email. Multiple times said, okay, what's the situation? They said that they weren't allowed to be on Mr. Craig's property, that they couldn't hook up the electric, etc., that he would their runoff. I got that many times. I said, would you care to document it? Multiple times, I asked them to document it, and they never did. If you look through the email chains, they cut off communication back in November or anything. We didn't hear anything from the elite after that. And I was saying, hey, something has to be done here to resolve this. I got so we have opposite position from the Craigs themselves, and then your guys' position. This needs to be resolved. Somebody needs to step up and try to give us some information so that we can present it to get this worked out. It didn't happen, but from at times talking to Mr. Craig, it was his concern was who was going to pay for. It was the as far as electricity goes, why should it be hooked up to his panel? Is the village property, etc. That's his stance. So that to me hadn't been never completely resolved, and that's from a sitting on the outside kind of looking in, that's the information I can provide. It wasn't ever really, I don't think, properly handled on either side as far as elite and so forth. I don't think they carried through on their behalf to fully vet out the part of like, hey, our guys were chased off. Okay, this is the person, this is their statement, etc. So, and then I can see where the Craigs are at, where they're trying to understand who's responsible with the hookup, etc. And then if there was no, and then there was a dispute over the property. Somebody said that they could go on the was it lot 100, I think it was.
Yeah.
That there was not easement given for. So, that's kind of.
And there hasn't been an easement given for that lot.
And we were neither were home when they put that thing into the ground. The only people I said could not stay on my property
Was
was
the
the
electrician.
electricians. That wasn't gonna happen. And no one
At
from
the
the
ti-
village has been down, even though you passed your ordinance for the $3 credit, whatever, for the electric. None of you have been down to do anything. We've not one time refused to hook up. Not once. And now the health department wants to shut my house down?
It
You're
was in our
wrong.
It was in our minutes that Mr. Craig said that he wouldn't hook up unless the pavilion would hook up, and then it would all be forgotten.
That was the
That is-
offer I
That
gave
has
you.
been in several minutes.
That was the offer I gave you.
My pavilion property is in the village,
Right,
and it is
but
to be
we weren't-
hooked up.
and we weren't giving an ultimatum, or we weren't asking, we were asking why he wasn't hooked up. And this is what he said.
Well, it comes down to Elite didn't do the job they're supposed to do. That's the village of Mifflin's responsibility. Now, if it's the BPA's, I would like to know.
I would say you're in charge of the sewer.
I will
system now,
contact
so-
them. If I have to have you write a letter to get to, they say they want to close out the contract, that's great, when they finish the work.
Right.
I mean,
Well, I agree with you there. All the work has to be done before
Yeah.
they close out.
Which is what I was saying earlier, trying to get Elite to step up on their part to take care of what was being handled, and they're refusing to speak to the Craig, so that's part of the problem we have right now.
It's my understanding, they
From
don't,
my understanding that they were saying, hey, we got ran off before,
Yeah.
we're not gonna do it.
no, the electrician
Oh,
got
the
ran off.
electricians.
Okay,
I understand your point, I'm just saying that's what I was told, so it may be incorrect information, but I was trying to get them to validate that.
Absolutely. This he said, she said stuff has to stop.
And as far as your pavilion property goes, you guys did provide an easement for it in the.
Yes.
In the very
previous-
beginning,
Previous
yes.
board sat up there
Mr. Hunt
twice
bring that.
and asked for the funds that were still available.
I understand
to
that.
Use,
Yep.
use for it.
I got the minutes of that meeting, and tonight, I'm gonna make a recommendation again. But, so that's where we're at, AJ. I don't know if that tells you anything.
It does. It tells me a lot. It tells me you guys got some kind of legal stuff going on here that is way beyond my pay grade.
Okay.
What I have are rules, and my rules say that if sewer is accessible, you have to hook in. And what's it been now? A year?
Over a year.
You guys,
Unless it's.
the village and the contractor and the Craigs could have had this all hammered out over the past year. You didn't. I have been patient. I haven't given you too much crap.
No,
But I'm at the end.
Okay.
I have done all I can do. You guys have to hammer this out, however you guys hammer it out, and the house needs hooked in. It sounds like a mess to me. Fortunately, I just do sewers.
Okay.
I don't have to do the legal stuff.
well, it will be hooked in.
I'm happy to work with you.
You know, that's-
you know
yeah,
I work
I
with you.
understand. Yes.
And I will work with the village, however you guys want it done. I'm fine with. But I was pushing you to a solution.
Well,
Hopefully I was pushing
Right.
you towards a solution.
the ordinance that we are going by states that, you know, even after the contract is done, if I have to hook in, the village provides the grinder tank. They wrote the ordinance.
What ordinance is that, Brett,
Uh,
referring to?
Okay. Ordinance 19 or 11, 2017. Page 3. Any grinder pump or other device as provided herein shall be installed at the village's expense and shall be maintained by the village and remain village property. If necessary to comply with these regulations, a grinder pump or other device shall be permitted to be installed. So if it's not done under the contract, which I believe somebody wrote a check to Elite Excavating for not following the rules. It says right on the print, you can't do this. You can't go, I work with prints every day. You can't go on somebody's lot and do that, you know? They didn't have an easement.
We need to get Mr. Hunt, because he has documentation.
Yeah.
That's where it was put.
I think you need to get Mr. Hunt here, and you get
Jason,
from the league here.
and
so-
Jason said that he was
Let's handle
tired
that.
of the game. So.
Yeah,
What's that?
Jason said he was tired of the game.
well, they need to do the job. I've got a whole list of things.
He said it's ridiculous. He's never worked with a project like this.
And now they don't want to do anything else? Your last couple proposals? Because there's no money in it now for them.
Well, there was $70,000 sitting on the table.
I
I
understand.
know, that's when we made the.
All right,
That's where we made the proposal, the recommendations to use that money up, because if you don't, it's gone.
yeah,
There's some money I used up.
I don't know. I have more.
When, last they made those change orders, there was still money available, that's how they could hook up the pavilion.
yeah. And speaking of the pavilion, the ordinance says it has to be hooked up. If it's not done under the grant, it will be done by somebody, but the village is paying for it because there again, it needs a grinder to be hooked up. Your engineer said it needed a grinder. The plant manager said it needed a grinder to be hooked up. In the ordinance, you know, which is $33,000 if that's what it is. You know, I think it could be done a lot cheaper, but
Pretty, on that, bill where they said it was gonna cost $33,000, they said it was like 700 feet of pipe.
I'm not the engineer, Danny.
Yeah, but you and I both know.
I know.
If it's 700 feet, they gotta be coming in off of by the old church down
Yeah.
there, by Coles.
And I'm within 250 foot of a sewer main.
Yeah, but it's the one that goes down the alley behind Vestas
Right.
and stuff. So I don't know why they
I don't know
want to have
why.
700 feet, but if
I'm
they
not-
do,
That's why I said it can be done a lot cheaper. But, so, when that happens, that's coming out of sewer money, which will have to be paid somehow, which will mean another rate increase for the residents of the village. If there's money in the grant right now, now's the time to get it hooked up, and that's what I'm gonna recommend. And I'll make a motion that, that's hooked up.
So you're making a motion to approve that change?
Yeah,
the change?
007
change
was the old
007.
one. Yeah, I
ain't that
probably,
a conflict of interest?
I'm just going by the ordinance.
So he's just making a recommendation. It comes down to the council has to approve the change order, because council approves all contracts for that sewer right now.
The village pays for it one way or the other. I don't care. I'd rather see it paid by the grant than the residents have to pay more money. The price of
Well,
the sewer is already almost doubled. Yes.
you're saying that the village is responsible for it. I'm gonna dispute that.
Okay.
It will be decided by a legal team,
Well,
and we need to talk to Hunt,
he's not a legal team. He's an engineer.
obviously, and you're a plumber,
That's right.
a layman.
Yeah. With it.
So, it needs to be handled legally, because the village will not be responsible for
Pam, the village is responsible. Your ordinance says so right there. I mean, your name's on it.
Are you saying you don't wanna hook us up?
Oh, not your home, you need to hook your home up.
My pavilion is in the village too.
Well, it was, I'm not saying that I don't want you to be hooked up personally. I just think because it is in a flood zone.
It's not.
It is not in a flood zone.
It
See,
is
there's
in
an-
the Mifflin 100-year flood zone.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Muskegon wouldn't let me build back here if it was.
Well, that will be disputed too.
All right, that's
I
fine.
mean, I don't
Um,
see how you're,
Okay,
Then
it's
okay.
okay.
this is,
No, please. They need to get their facts.
okay.
I already got my facts. I'm going by the ordinance. I was elected to go by this ordinance. All right, well, I'd also make a recommendation that the village, I know they've already approved it, but I don't know if they can go back and unapprove it, that the tap for this and a grinder for this building, I don't think the residents of the village should have to pay for that because there's no water here. There's no place to put that grinder unless you put it out there in the alley or on the sidewalk. You gotta get a well or run water here. There's no place for a well. I don't think the building itself is actually on its own lot. I think it's encroaching on the neighbors, so I would make a recommendation that, I don't know which one that was, 006. The one concerning the tap for the town hall. I would recommend that you rethink that because I don't see it doing any good and all it does is cost money. Yes, Pam.
That's a good idea, that there should not be, a tap and sewer going to buildings that do not have sewer and water. Can you tell me how many, buildings in the taps that are hooked up in the village prior are out there that are hooked up to buildings with no sewer or water? That were approved. Mhm.
Is it costing, I can tell
No,
you,
it took
I
my
could tell you
grant
one,
money.
at least
It took
one.
grant money.
But-
I said there's
Yeah.
several, I'm sure, and you are aware of this because
Yeah.
you do it every day,
Well,
so. Dan?
If I can.
Yeah.
With regard to the tap here, I think the thought was in the event the village ever put a restroom in here in the front where the garage is, that was some of the discussion as I recall. they were talking about putting a bathroom in that, garage area, running water and so forth to do that. That's why
If
they went
water
ahead,
ever came through.
that's why they went ahead and had the tap installed, because it's covered by the grant. Makes sense to do it now versus having to do it later when they have to pay for it out of residents' money.
Right.
So that, just some background.
Yeah. I don't think that's ever gonna happen. It might happen. I mean,
It might
yeah,
not,
yeah.
but it's not costing you anything.
Right,
under
at
the
this
grant-
time.
With the grant money, so that's why they went ahead and did it.
Well,
It's possible to have a holding tank too, like they're going to do down to Lower Station.
Cistern.
that alley or that sidewalk can only hold so many appliances. Like you're gonna have the tank in there. There's a gas line out there. I don't know if that's a county road, a village road. I don't know if they have any say in that, but you're already gonna have that grinder tank sticking up out of the ground, so nobody can park out there. And then you're gonna put a cistern out there. I don't, that's just, if we had water or if you had a place for a well, that'd be great, but you don't have the land here. But that was my recommendation anyway, so. Amy, I made a motion,
Okay. You need to get a second.
yes.
A second.
Which one was that?
This is,
It's 006, I
seven?
think, no, the one for this building,
This one here. Okay.
and it's already been approved. I'm just saying, I don't, as a member of the BPA,
Got it. And she seconded it.
yeah, as a member of the BPA, I don't think it should be done.
Okay.
All right,
Roll call.
Fred,
yes.
Feline,
Yes.
All right, while you're still here, AJ.
That included 007, just 006.
it was just 006.
You already did it, we already did, oh, all right,
There was no second.
oh. I make a motion that the Village of Mifflin hook up the pavilion, that's the best I,
Well, the
fulfill
recommendation-
007
the change-
resolution,
Approved change
Approved
order.
approved
order
change order,
007.
yeah,
And a second.
Fred,
yes.
Feline,
Yes.
I know you don't have a copy of our
Yeah, I don't.
number 4, when we talked about this, I explained to you that we do have an ordinance.
Okey-doke.
Okay.
Can't have it, you can't have it.
Right. And I
What was that?
It's, says
Oh.
you can't have a privy.
can't have a privy in the Village of
I
Mifflin.
mean, I'm not legal in the way that you are here, but it says,
Can't have a privy.
that's what it says.
so we can't have the cistern.
No, you can have
Privy
a
and
cistern, that's
cistern
different.
What ordinance
Major
was
league
that?
different. Cistern's drinking water.
Bathroom water,
Privy is not drinking water.
wastewater.
Yeah.
Wastewater, what ordinance was that?
11/2017.
You really can't. I would make sure.
I think your name's on it, man, actually,
I'm
yeah.
sure it was, that's why I want to refer back to it.
It's part of the reg-
Referring to one gentleman we got in the village that has a holding tank that, privy on top of it, if you wanna call it.
That's exactly what it is.
It was
Did
okay
you
by
want
the
to-
health department a long time ago, put in
Yeah,
properly.
they are allowed. Privies, outhouses, they're allowed. But if you've got an ordinance that says you can't, your ordinance says you can't. So you can go to take you to court just as easily as I can. Because you're talking about hooking up somebody who doesn't have water.
Right.
What do I hook up to?
Right, what is it?
There's nothing to hook up to. It's certainly not gonna be used if he doesn't have water,
Right.
Right,
because you gotta have water to. So, I mean, it seems to me it's simpler for you guys to say, hey, here's the ordinance, here's what you're not following, and if you're making, if he gets water, and then you hook him in, and
he can't get water.
can't.
Nope.
No.
Cause he ain't got enough money.
His neighbor's got a well over there, it's not even being used.
Oh, that's not his.
That's
That's
right,
true.
neither is that lot 100 down there.
That's not yours?
That's mine, not the village's. But enough about that. All right, well, I just wanted to let you know that
Understand?
we do have an ordinance there.
Is there a rule that says you have to have an outhouse, or you have to have a sewer in your house?
No, as a matter of fact, if you do not have running water, you don't have to have jack. It's like a camp.
You don't have to have a privy?
It's just like a
Okay.
camp. It's like if you owned a 5 acre or a couple acre parcel somewhere, went out and pitched a tent. You don't have running water, you can
Wash your butt in the creek?
wash your butt in the creek.
Okay.
Well, I wouldn't do it in that creek.
I would wash my butt in any creek. I'm kind of accustomed to plumbing.
All right, well, where we at? See that there. All right, I guess we're still on old business. Dusty Bright's got an issue up there with the way the road was paved. The water is, they didn't bank the road after they put the sewer in. That's just one of the things. The alley up there is settling. All the alleys are gonna continue to settle. If their contract's done, they're out of here.
You talking about Louisiana?
Yeah,
They were supposed to wait till that settled, then refix it.
okay. Well, I would
I
suggest,
guess
well,
fix it the correct way, I guess you would.
yeah.
They're waiting for it to settle and they're gonna reject it.
So, Mr. Hunter, do we need that in writing?
Well, I wouldn't close the contract. until
Well,
everything-
okay, and that's all I needed to know on that, all right.
They need to get stuff done so you get this contract closed.
Right, I understand that. Okay,
Make sure you have everything you need before you close the
Right.
contract, so you get all that grant
Yeah.
money used up.
the catch basin back here, did anybody from the village give Elite permission to remove it or cover it up?
Which catch basin?
There was a catch basin right back here by the old, the church's sewer system. The tile's still there. I just wondering if they did, because it's starting to wear the bank out again. From the water that was put in, because the water was running over the hill, it ate the bank out, it was starting to encroach on the alley, the ditch was. So they put a catch basin in, run a tile down to the creek to keep the water from wearing it out. Well, it's starting over, because I don't know if the catch basin is gone or was just covered over. If it's just covered over,
Quite possibly be covered over, cause the one back that they dug out just a couple year ago, so that one's still covered up too.
but nobody from the village gave him permission.
No.
Okay. At my garage over there, the shut off, I guess, by the Y pole is broke. I don't know if that can let water down in it. It's from the delivery trucks at the end zone. So I think there needs to be a metal one like they put at the end zone to keep it from getting broke. They just had the plastic one, so. When did the sewer plant come online? I don't know if you know that, Brian, or
Probably
the engineer.
January, February, January.
Okay.
February.
I wanted to make sure, because he said the warranty's up, so if it came online in January, I didn't think it started till March, but
I believe we were sending bills by February, if I remember correctly.
March
March,
was the first bill.
so that would have been
Online in February.
February then.
That was when most people were hooked up, that's why the bills were sent out.
Since Mr. Parks is not here, does anybody know if that spill on December 20th was reported to the EPA?
It wasn't a spill,
What was it?
it was a blower.
It
that
was-
went out. There was no water let loose out of the plant,
Really?
correct,
Okay. I have a sample down there.
okay. Did you send it to the EPA?
Not yet.
Okay.
Did you take a sample of that?
Right there at the creek.
On your place, right
Yep.
there?
As far as the village knows, is it safe for people to have a well within 20 foot of that creek?
How far away are you supposed to keep it from your sewer?
I don't know, AJ.
50.
50.
So I wouldn't think
Unless
that.
you got special pipe in.
I mean, the water, as far as the water going through the creek that could leach into a person's well.
Yeah, but a water supply doesn't have to be 50 feet from a creek, regardless of what's flowing through the creek. I could go into a long story on how they specifically drill next to sewer creeks in India to pull water out of it, and the movement of the water from the creek bed across 20, 30 feet of soil and
Filter.
rolls into it filters it and they drink it.
Okay.
So we don't do that here, but there, I just off the top of my head, the isolation distance to a creek is it might be 20 feet, 20, 25.
Okay.
I'd have to look it up. To be
So
sure.
what if the well was there and they put the sewer in and Pam said that wasn't a spill, but I know what I know.
I'd have to look at the well log. The
Okay.
well log would tell you how deep the well is. It would also tell you how deep it's cased.
Okay.
That would tell you how much soil that water has to go through before it gets to the drinking water table. Generally, it's cased. Minimum is cased 25
Yeah.
feet deep. So I would expect it's probably cased deeper than that. So the odds of contamination without it going up against the casing is pretty minimal.
Okay. Could I get keys, number one? Could I get the spec book for the contract? And could I get the set of prints they use to build the sewer? And then when I left office, all that stuff was in there.
I'll have to look for it for you.
Okay.
There's a lot of things that were in there.
Did we find any,
Spec book and what else?
the construction prints? Which would probably be the last set of prints they dropped off. Amy, do we know any more on the internet?
I haven't heard a thing.
Do you remember what our cost was?
I can tell you after the meeting, I don't know for sure.
Because it might be just cheaper for the BPA to get internet service.
far as the internet goes, there was a talk between what Mr. Parks and Elite. They were talking about hooking up something here and shooting.
I said something about,
But that never, when everything seemed to break down with Elite communication, that seemed to be gone there, and Mr. Parks hasn't been the most forthcoming with information either.
yeah,
And his
everybody's
laptop
been
wasn't given
paid.
to him, and he was supposed to have the laptop because he's supposed to be able to access the plant remotely. If there's an alarm or something, he can reset it off-site, etc. And when he does his reports and stuff, that has not been, neither of which have been taken care of.
Brian, do you know if he ever got the computer he was supposed to
I
get?
don't believe he did. To my knowledge, he doesn't have it.
So there's a lot of things Elite still owes.
That's correct, including, I believe there were supposed to be some locks, and we asked about having access to it. Mr. Parks was using his own locks up there for a while. And obviously, if you have otherwise had access to it, it wasn't given to the BPA, or I don't know if the mayor got one either. But that's something else
Why
that wasn't addressed.
You need to go in there.
If he's out of town, there's an emergency, we might have to stop in there. We're one of the people on the list that gets contacted. That's why you would have to be in there, same as your other operator that would be contacted, Rube or whoever.
Bobby
Emergency,
does have a key to it.
but it wasn't provided to anybody else in case something happened to the two of them or whatever to get in, take care of it.
But Elite wouldn't be responsible for the,
But they were talking about providing some rocks, I'm sorry.
let me finish my thought before. The computer would just be something,
No, they were supposed to.
it's under the contract they provided.
They were supposed to, yeah, Elite was supposed to get him a computer.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I don't know why that would be in their contract, right? I just use a,
Something to do with the grant.
okay,
because it had to go through the grant.
okay.
I'm sorry.
No, yeah. I think we were talking about two different things, that's why.
Alright. Well, that's about all the old business I have. Well, except I want to make sure on this. My responsibility to get a hold of the lead, get all this stuff done. Okay. Alright.
When you got elected president, that's you took it on.
Okay, I didn't know, because they have a contract with the village, and I didn't know.
But you're under the village,
Right.
your duty is to run the
Sewer plant.
project and plant, so.
I don't know. Well,
Not necessarily the
Project.
project, but it should be, the project should be done, but it's not,
Right.
so.
As a former person sitting in a chair, I talked to him as well as talked to whoever on council and Vicky and so forth, and we had tried to mutually get some of the stuff worked out, which didn't happen. All to
Brian, in your
Typical.
opinion, did
full extent should have.
Elite just stop their communication, or
Yeah, in some aspects, yes, because I mean, we could send a communique and ask about some of these things that we never got back. I know they were waiting on some of the change order situations to go through to see if they had further work to do and so forth. And then just a parting shot on that, as I try to explain to anybody with here at the BPA meetings, when we discussed like the further hookups that you're talking about, the change order 007. We need to look at it from a pure economic standpoint,
right?
not a personal standpoint, which too many things get looked at from a personal standpoint in this village, I think. From an economic standpoint, the BPA, the sewer fund needs more funding. It needs more, and all the revenue it can get. So if there's another place hooked up, or how many other places got hooked up, that's great. We also have matters of money being left on the table if we don't use it. It's gonna,
Right.
your tax dollars already paid for it somewhere along the line, you might as well use it. So, we also need the flow, because I've heard it said that sometimes we're getting this thing off the ground, we need more flow. So any opportunities to get more flow, more revenue, the village should take advantage of it.
Okay.
And that should be left at that, and I wish everybody kind of cooler heads could prevail to prevent any of that from happening.
Well, we need, the taps that are already up and running. Before
That's
we
true.
have to add any more that can be shut
But,
down.
that's kind of separate.
No, it's
Yeah.
all together.
I think the flow is like 3,500 gallons a day. I think that's what he told me the last time, and that's a 35,000 gallon plant. So
I have a question.
we have a lot of room.
What is our deficit, from running the plant from the cost of running the plant, everything insurance, okay, included, all that to what we have coming in? What is our deficit to run that plan?
With the appropriations for this year, we were gonna be, with the numbers Amy gave me, approximately $700 in the hole. Now, that's if nothing goes bad, and that was just with the numbers she had, which I think some of the numbers are gonna change a lot, maybe, I don't know, just the way they are.
$700 a year with this new raise that's going in.
Yes, that was with the new money,
With the new money, we're gonna be $700 a year short.
yes.
That's news to me.
Well, that was,
Because we were gonna have,
we figured that in the first hour, Brian,
well,
just,
the BPA had asked us to dissolve the BPA, and that's how they figured out what the raise would be.
Amy and,
Right,
Attorney Hunter.
all the expenses that,
but you still have to pay an administrator, probably more than you would pay 3 members of the BPA, but
There was also considering the fiscal officer reserve hours, not having to have the officer out here, et cetera, et cetera. So if there was if the information wasn't on the table to the board, then
Right.
obviously we would not.
I'm just
make
saying,
that recommendation to
I'm
be
just
set.
saying with
a
the
lot
numbers,
more without the BPA.
with the numbers we have as of right now, you know, that's how much we'd be in the hole. Now, that don't mean we will be. We'll have to take another look at it, or look at it monthly and just see what's changing. You know, I've got questions on a lot of this stuff. I don't even know what it is.
You put on, Facebook that you wanted to raise the businesses,
I think they should be raised.
so are you gonna put that back on there, that the Mifflin Inn will be $700?
It'll be whatever you guys make it. The BPA doesn't set the rates. We
Right.
recommend.
You had the rate set before with
No.
all the businesses and.
Vicky, I didn't have the rate set. That rate was set,
with you
By-
manually.
yes,
And
So you
approved.
did
Mr.
that.
Hunt.
Yeah, so it
Approved by
was
council.
$700.
and approved by
then.
council. Based on the ERUs. And I think that's in your new ordinance, it still says that for
Do you
the,
think it's fair to charge the Mifflin Inn
I don't-
$700?
it-
Anybody $700?
I don't know if it's
for
fair. I'm not, business is not
Do you
fair.
think
This
that's
is a
right?
business. Do I think it's right? No,
Yeah.
no. I think it's too much. But I didn't set them, you know? We had to give something to the EPA. And that's what,
So
Mr.
why
Hunt
would
came
you
up.
have them $700, the rest of the businesses lower? Like
So
All right.
the BPA would approve it.
The BPA?
Exactly.
EPA.
Yeah, that's what I said,
Show the funding.
EPA.
That's all.
It was based on ERUs, which there was a schedule in the back of the old, I don't think it's in the new one, that, it was based on seating.
Yeah. And that's what JJ.
The Mifflin
went around
Inn.
did.
And based
But it
on
still
them,
didn't come out $700.
I don't know what it came out.
Based on the old setup, it was that way. That's why we went to the flat rates.
Yeah. Mifflin's got a lot of seating.
Yeah, and if,
But it's
you-
not full all the time.
no,
Ain't
but
nothing to do with being full, that's like a church. Ain't
It's-
nothing to do with
it's like
being
a
full,
station
how much
over
seats
here,
you got.
the Ohio Administrative Code says it should be based on 5 ERUs. That'd be 5 times the rate. So, at the time it was $35, it'd been 5 times that. Now, it's, what, $80?
70.
70? No,
Mifflin Inn's probably
I
not
thought
gonna
we-
be
I thought-
selling, so we don't. other
Should be
than-
85.
I think they're opening up.
Should be 85 and 45.
I do.
There's a rumor.
I was contacted by the plumbing inspector in Mansfield, and he asked me some questions. If the Mifflin Inn was paid up and what they needed to do to open back up. I said, I asked Amy, and she said they're paid up, so that's all I know. He didn't tell me who, what, but
I'm on that too.
what's the new rate, Amy?
43 and 85.
Okay, that would be 43 and 85. The 43 is like, what, 51% raise? The 83 or 85 is only 20%. I think if you're gonna,
Well, that's going off the previous rates where some people were, I'm sorry to interject.
Yeah.
Previously, some businesses were only paying $35.63 or something like that. So they got their rate at that time basically doubled to 70, and then 15 was put on top of that. Reason being is they brought up that the system was set up before, it was kind of screwy where one business, you did the math, was $700 and other people were $35. So
Right.
the businesses already had somewhat of an increase if you go off baseline. The only one that fell outside of it was the Mifflin Inn, which is the one that
And-
got the reduction.
and probably the end zone and the station
End zone
over
was,
here, the
I don't know.
Lions Club. I mean,
Actually, the Lions Club was supposed to be $35, believe it or not. That when we calculated.
based
it out.
on their seating?
Yeah.
Okay,
Because of how the math was done, because of where the decimal point fell with the .01, et cetera.
alright,
It was goofy. That's where we came up with the $70 to start with. Just kind of, not necessarily wasn't in the middle, but it was kind of like where the typical higher, like you take the Mifflin in as the outlier, and then
Okay.
take the other outlier, which was the Lions Club, and then you kind of figured out what the
Alright.
median was, and that was about $70. That's where that came from.
okay, so, Brian, as former president of the BPA, if the rates that were on the old ordinance would have been followed, would we be in a deficit now?
I believe we would be to some degree.
Okay.
Because you would have the $35 going, like the church wasn't gonna be much different than that, and and then some of the other considered businesses at that point are basically, disconnected, like that garage up there and the one back here and so on. So we had lost some revenue, and then you have some other places that were, that are still shut off or voluntary disconnects. We've lost, I don't know, probably eight spots at least,
So what you
8 or
saying?
10. So I think we would be somewhere on that deficit because we hadn't calculated. We were trying to figure out what the insurance was going to be paid out, the internet bill, and things that were not on there yet. So I think we'd be right in about the same
Okay.
boat we are now.
So you're saying there's about 11 places that are no longer,
Something like that, I would say.
that we're supposed to be paying that are not paying.
Well, you got the Brights properties back there that aren't paying still. You have Vespers. You have I think there's a couple other spots. I can't remember what they are, but I know that Craig's they don't have a house down their own property. It's disconnected, but that was all factored in.
Yeah, and
Things like that. So I mean, there's good 8-10 spots easy,
I was charged, I'm being charged for that property and there's not even a house on
which
that
is fine.
property.
But
Yeah.
I'm just saying that was originally
Right.
calculated into the total figure. So we're going from like a 70 number down to like 61, 62.
Right,
But that was approved on us.
On the EPA was
Right,
thinking the
EPA
higher
was
number, and then now
We're
we're less.
getting that
So yeah,
loan. Yeah,
even at $35 a month, at 8 spots, that's $240 some dollars. Times that by how many every month,
Yeah.
Gonna be short.
Yeah, okay, bigger than us getting that grant.
so whatever happened with getting the meters?
That was asked. Mr. Hunt was supposed to be talking to somebody had to do with Muskingum Watershed. They thought they were gonna. I think it was Muskingum. He was talking to somebody that said after the grant money came out that they were still willing to give money to the village. It was originally talked about, and that's where the meter with potentially money was going to come from. The council thought it would be a hardship to put that cost onto the businesses, so we found potentially alternative funding. But I hadn't talked to Mr. Hunt for probably 4 months, 5 months, something like that. Probably since back in
Excuse
October.
me, ladies and gentlemen, I gotta get out of here.
So that's where he was going to be getting this alter funding to help take care of that after the, basically things were closed and the grant money was spent.
So,
So that just basically got tabled essentially.
okay,
Didn't they make a recommendation just to go to a flat rate instead of doing the meters?
Yeah, after about 2 or 3 months of not having anything said about it further, yeah, that's where we went that way. Just so we could have the revenue.
Okay.
And we'd have some coming in.
well,
Did you contact
This-
Brian and those, or Jason and those guys, cause we never had any problem contacting them.
I would talk to them, but
contacting us
sometimes they wouldn't get back to me, or it'd be sporadic at best.
the thing is, I don't, I'm all for businesses, but I don't think the village of Mifflin should be subsidizing these businesses. I mean, we want them here, but, if our rates are going up, the business rates ought to go up, cause I know what you said, 35 compared to 70, but,
I was just expressing our
Yeah.
line of thinking.
if they don't wanna have a meter, you know, I think they should have went up the same as the residents. You know, when people come up and say, you know, our rate's almost double. I said, well, it didn't double, but yeah, but look, the businesses didn't go up that much. What do you say? Well, we're taking it easy on the businesses. You know, I don't think it's where we need to be.
Well, I understand your point. Now I agree with you. We had some business owners in at the same time, people concerned at the same time from the church, Lions Club, all that. That was back when it was a baseline, where you had $35 here, and maybe 180 it was the other guys number, and then 700 or whatever. And that was kind of the easier compromise at that point in time, trying to make the numbers that we had at that time meet, and then have some extra money put back every month. So we tried to do the best we could at that point in time, and if it needs revisited now, obviously you're welcome to.
Well, I think it's going to have to be because it looks like we're going to have a shortfall. We might not, but our job is to not make money, but we have to have some money. If a pump goes down,
I understand.
One of them big pumps go down,
You need to continue to.
yeah, you have to have money.
And we knew this in the beginning, right?
Yeah.
So, and with the 2850, it wasn't possible, so the raise is.
No, we had 2 years where we should have been able to build a kitty. So, and that's why I'm trying to look at these numbers. If all that money's gone,
Well, is that money gone or is it not paid? Because there's a lot of people that thought they did not have to pay that.
I
Where'd they
think
got
Pretty much
that,
everybody's.
Bill?
I'm gonna ask,
everybody's pretty well paid
yeah,
up.
I'm gonna ask Amy about all that after a bit here, so.
I think the other issue was that when the council forgave the $250 fee for the inspection,
Okay.
that money was initially thought was gonna be in the pool, the kitty, if you will.
I don't know as it was,
When I
because-
was reading through some of the old notes, it sounded like that was gonna be some extra money that would have been added into the account.
You
Which
originally
wasn't
said
there.
that, Fred.
So
I don't-
that was dismissed and wasn't available to us to use, so that's where your depleted funds and some things, and I would say there's expenditures that wasn't, known about getting into that.
Well, we shouldn't have had any expenditures till that. Actually, we probably shouldn't have had any till. As far as the sewer project, I know we got internet and stuff like that, but paying Tim's wages and stuff, so. All right, well. Since you're here, Brian, was there a schedule of things they had, or I don't know, maybe you can answer that. Do they have a schedule up there of things they gotta do daily, weekly, monthly,
There was
yearly?
some testing and so forth, but that information wasn't addressed. There was not any type of, let's say, I want to say,
Well, I'm looking-
job description
yeah,
given to us
okay.
from the village to go by, and it was loosely being talked to Tim, like, hey, he's making sure he's taking care of test stuff. I thought that's something that needed to be addressed. I don't know who that was going to be through the BPA
Okay,
or if it's through council, or however.
Well-
It's one of the things that I'm sitting on the board, I was thinking back that that needed to be handled better, because the other thing is a situation which is brought up. You have a secondary operator, if you will, Mr. Walton, who's, checking on his time, not to say he's being dishonest, but what's he doing and what's
Right.
his purpose, and why is he there, why are you paying, the operator and then the second person, and
Yeah.
that cuts into the funds too, and that needs to just be a better oversight.
well, that's what I wanna put a schedule of things up there so that
Yeah,
they're
there's
checked
not-
off.
There wasn't any, that wasn't being done as it should have been. In my opinion, honestly, in my opinion, I don't think that was done to the degree it needed to be at all. I mean, I know Tim was doing his testing and so forth, but
Alright.
keeping track of stuff, that wasn't being done.
Okay,
Does Robbie go along with that?
Yes, but what he does in those hours, I couldn't tell you. I don't know if it's asking, like, trying to get, I don't have an even way to get hold of him. I was always talking to him through Tim.
You don't have his phone number?
No, I wasn't given his phone number. I'd asked for it, but that's contacting, like I said, Mr. Parks, and he contacted Mr. Walton about it.
Who did you ask for? we all
I'm not
have it.
sure I'm not sure who exactly. I can tell you specific. I know I'm sure I talked to Mr. Parks about it or whatever.
Okay. Well, alright. While we're on the old business, Amy, do you have a list of delinquent people?
Yes, I do.
Do you know if there's any shut-offs pending?
Yes, there is.
Do you know if shut-offs completed? Okay, assessments owed?
Yep.
Okay, and can you tell me the schedule for shut-offs again? Payments due on the,
5th.
okay. Letter goes out,
10 days later, something like that.
15th,
okay. Shut off,
whenever Tim can do it.
It's usually within a week, 10 days of that. 'Cause
so there's no set, you're gonna
it's
be
either-
shut off today?
Typically, it's a Monday or a Wednesday. It's once we get in the month, he says when he's available, we figure at least a week after the 10 days ish after the notice went out, because you would need 3 days to be able to post it on the physical placard on the house or notice, like, hey, you're gonna be shut off in 3 days.
So, bill's on the 5th, the 15th you send out the notice.
Typically about the 21st, 24th, somewhere in that area, depending on how, if we get the notices out quick enough.
Okay.
So sometimes she had it out as early as the 12th, so then you could move it up a little sooner.
Alright, I think that's all I got for old business. New business. I don't really have anything. Pauline. Okay, well, we need to get hooked. I know I need to get hooked up. I want the village to do no more, no less than what they've done for everybody else. And I want it done legally the way it should have been done in the beginning. It's gonna happen, and like I said, I want my pavilion hooked up too, because I paid the assessment, I gave the easement, just like everybody else in the village. How it got missed, I don't know. I never even noticed it on the prints, I just figured since the easement was done, it was done. We have the money, well, I don't know if we still have the money, but like I said, I would rather see it done through the grant than have the residents pay for it. One of which I am. I don't want my bill to go higher.
We can afford the bill we got now.
Yeah,
Big old plan.
I mean, AJ, if we wouldn't have put the sewer plan in, how long till we would have had to put it in?
I can say that Pat covers Mifflin Township. But you did the right thing.
Oh,
You
yeah.
just you got your hiccups. You got your Polk's got the same stuff. Nova got the same stuff. Sullivan is going to be right on your heels as soon as I get a hold of him.
Yeah.
But you did the right thing. These little bumps and bruises are routine with just about every village.
Yeah.
It sucks to begin with. You'll like it.
Muskegon would be
I
so
can,
much
I can,
easier.
I have an example. In Polk, I knew where Polk went. I knew where 2 8-inch tile came out. They were village tile. I knew where they came out in the railroad bed. I drove by there in August of last year, and there was nothing. Nothing. If you would have done that 2 years before, it would have been a cesspit. But that was one of those situations where I can go, ha! I can actually see something worked.
Right.
You guys,
I love my sewer.
you guys will be,
Love it
you're way better off than you.
with sewer, but just,
Absolutely.
yeah. I just don't, that's a big.
And I'm gonna say, even at the $43, it's still cheap.
It's cheaper than Polk.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean,
Polk's
it's-
expensive.
it's-
Most about double that.
it's not
75.
what we went in with,
Outside.
but
Right.
Yeah, and they've got city water, so add that. That's that Lorraine County Water Authority and garbage. So I'm speaking from an Ashland. I live in the town of Ashland. $50.
Yeah.
What it cost me for sewer, water, garbage. Now I live by myself, so I don't use the water that family might. And I don't create the garbage. But yeah, the reason it's expensive is because you just built the plant. As soon as you get the plant paid off, now it's just maintenance. Then your rates can come back down. It's just again, these are the bumps and bruises you take at the beginning.
well, all we have is maintenance.
Yeah.
But we have.
That's why you guys are so much cheaper
Yeah.
than
But at the
Polk.
same token,
And
we
we-
only have 60.
Right,
60
that's all we,
people,
yeah.
not like,
Sure, sure.
So,
Polk had 135.
Yeah.
on that thought of, that's all we have,
That's a lot.
and I know it's probably Pat's department, I don't,
Let's give it to Pat anyway.
well, okay.
No. Go ahead.
Say the people up the top of the hill,
Uh-huh.
you know, there's 30, 40 houses up there.
Mhm.
If they wanted to tie in.
Yep.
And we got the, capacity,
Absolutely.
okay,
So,
Same with,
Absolutely. That's
same with
exactly-
Charles Mill, we can pump some of their holding tanks in there.
well, I think are they starting their sewer this
Can
year?
you get the development down here?
Cottage year, they're gonna bring it across the lake.
Oh, well, that's fine. I have a rule that we can't have leach pits anymore.
Yeah.
And that's what they got, a lot of leach pits
Yeah.
down there. And I can't replace systems on those little bitty lots, so they're gonna get NPDS and it's bullshit. And I would rather just get sewered and everybody's happy.
Muskegon will take care of those people. They will
Good.
be, it will be so sweet of a deal for them.
Do they-
Unbelievable.
They don't have to go through you guys, do they?
No, once
Okay.
you're doing the sewer, it's
Yeah.
it's 1, 2, and 3 family dwelling.
Because I
That's all I do.
think they're starting their sewer this year. Okay,
Becky,
Yes,
do you have someone else to be the third BPA?
no, at this time.
Are you interested in coming back?
I wouldn't be opposed to it.
I would
I'm very
really like
non-committal.
to have someone else on.
I'd like to consider someone.
you throwing your hat in, Brian?
The only thing I had objected was make sure that we could, which we had to do it last time, work around the work schedule to make sure we all be
All
there.
right,
And that's why we did the 10:30 or 10 o'clock appointment, 'cause
okay, so
we could work around the
with
work
that
schedule.
being said, I think we wanna have our meetings on the second Tuesday at 5:30.
That shouldn't be a problem.
Amy,
But as I said,
Gonna,
that'd be up to the mayor
Right.
and council, who they want to appoint.
okay, well,
we gotta run.
your hat's in the ring then, so. Any other new business? Not really. So our next meeting will be the second Tuesday at, I don't know,
5:30.
5:30.
That's true.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna put on the spot.
can't read it from here.
I tearing up in things.
Yes, ma'am.
We had the
13th.
meeting
Yeah, I mean.
2 days before the council meeting.
Yes.
So that's not gonna fall 2 days before the council meeting.
So actually, the council meeting is on the 8th.
Right.
We always had it the Tuesdays before the second Thursday is what she's getting at.
Right.
And that's what we're saying.
That's what I'm saying.
No, it's not falling that way because the first is on a Thursday.
So actually,
Oh, I
That's the
see.
first
it'd be
Thursday.
the 6th would be if you're gonna do it that way.
Yeah.
So you really need to say.
That
that's gonna be
Tuesday
this-
before.
The Tuesday before the council
Okay.
meeting.
All right.
Okay,
Yeah,
so,
yes.
The Tuesday
Whenever that
before
falls.
Thursday
got it,
is 6th.
Yeah, I guess it wouldn't always be the second, would it?
right.
Were you able to get Mr. Zahner the numbers that you gave me? He asked at the council meeting if he could get them numbers.
Think I don't remember.
All
I
right.
don't remember.
Yeah,
I'll have to ask him.
okay.
I think I put it in his box.
All right.
I think I did.
Any other new business? All right. Approval of reports. Minutes, I haven't even looked at them. You looked at them, Pauline.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I know we got them. Yeah. Did you get two out, Amy? Or I can just pass it, I can give you.
No,
one.
you
Okay,
should have it. It's right there on top. Isn't that it right there?
No,
January 9th.
I don't have January. I have August, September, November.
Oh, here, look over my shoulder.
Okay.
How long you been looking for help?
20, I think it'd be 27 years or something.
Like it for the most part.
Oh, you must. I wouldn't have stuck around.
That many years later.
I moved to Ashland in 77 and grew up. So when I graduated college, I came here and I got this. I went, okay, let's see what this does. Not sure I'm going to stay. And I fell in love with it. It was just so much fun.
Interesting.
For the most part, I get to help people.
It's the
Every now and
one
again, I
tonight.
gotta be
Here's
the
the
bad
agenda.
I
and
gotta
then
be the
here's
bad
gonna
guy.
be
That's-
the financial
Yeah, and that's the
reports.
part that I've,
Oh,
over the
okay.
years, I've gotten more accepting of, but I still really don't like doing it. But for the most part, yeah, it's a blast.
Not follow the rules,
Yep.
everybody's got to follow the rules.
That's it.
what
Something
we
new
do.
every day. I get to play I get to play outdoors. That was a big deal because I got offered a job at what is now Charles River. It used to be Will Research,
Oh,
which is
okay,
what
yeah.
I basically did most of my training in college was lab work and stuff like that. They offered me a job I think 3 days after I took the one at the health department. So I said, well, I got that in my pocket.
Yeah,
But I never even
Never looked
considered
back.
never even considered quitting. No.
that's good. That'd be interesting.
My dad told me about 5% of the population likes getting up and going to work. And
You're in that 5%.
I got to be
We're
one of them,
fortunate.
man. Yeah, very fortunate. Life is dumb luck.
Yeah,
And in this case, it worked.
yeah. When you're doing something good for the people in there,
I try.
that's important.
Try very hard to.
Jump on the day.
I'm local. I got to live here with you guys. I want to be as nice as
Amy, what is Alloway?
It's the.
Testing?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I thought.
Oh, Mifflin's a nice village. The people are really
I've
nice.
enjoyed it.
We're old, we're poor,
That,
we're handicapped, but that's what makes the point.
yeah.
That's how it goes, you know?
And
Did
that's,
she
that's
give
pretty
you the
much
numbers for
all the
Tim
villages. I mean,
and
Yeah.
No, I'll
Elite
get them.
same
and all
stuff. And they
that?
get the same belly aches that
Yeah,
everybody
I gave
does.
you
And we all
Elite.
just go,
Oh, did you?
okay.
Yes,
we're gonna
last
have to
time.
bite in, in
You
this
should
case,
have
it's
the
pull.
2
We're
copies
gonna have
of
to bite the
11
bullet. You've
and
got a
19.
problem and I can
gave
go
you
like
Elite, I
this.
gave you Tim's
There it
contact
is.
and contract,
And now it's
gave you
fixed,
revenue
which
and
is cool.
expenses.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
I still have to do
the
part
people
of
that
the
live in
minutes
Sullivan, in the village of Sullivan, call
and
it
the emails,
Shit
yeah.
Creek.
Okay.
Because come
Well,
July and
actually,
August, when there's not a lot of rainwater and surface
I
water,
gave you the
all it
email
is
address.
right, you can have the password for
bad.
the BPA.
Yeah, you can smell it. I smell it driving through, and I go, wow,
Yeah.
somebody really ought to
So
do
I'll
something.
get that,
Okay.
the password for that, and then the
I
rest
just,
of
I
it.
just haven't yet.
And then that
That's-
should be
yeah, they're not gonna
everything
be
except
happy.
for, cause I don't do the spec book. and
Spec book
prints.
and prints.
Yep. So other than that, you should have everything.
Okay. Okay. Motion to approve the minutes of the January 9th meeting?
Motion made.
Second.
Fred?
Yes.
Celine?
Yes.
Motion to pay the,
Well, I
oh,
already wrote them,
what?
the bills.
Oh, okay.
They are on, that page right there.
Okay,
Those are all the bills that went out. I just wrote them today.
okay.
So,
We still need a motion?
well, yeah, I haven't sent them yet.
Oh, alright.
So, yeah.
Motion made.
Second.
Fred?
Yes.
Celine?
Yes.
And then
Accept the financial report?
that's what we have. That is after all these bills have been made and any receipts from the first of the year to today.
Those are the ones going out.
Yeah.
Do I have them? No.
You should have it too.
No, okay. So this is coming out of the 13, well, actually it was more than that, wasn't it?
That's how much we have.
The 13.9 now?
Yes.
Oh.
That is how much we have.
So, alright,
That is after all these bills
okay,
paid and then
All
all
right.
the receipts from January 1 through today.
okay.
Okay.
Well, we won't do it here, but. So we could do the math again. Based on what we think's coming in and those numbers going out with this new number. But what, there's only $1,000 difference, right? From the last time, pretty close. Alright, so it's not gonna change much. Okay. Motion to accept the financial report.
Motion made.
Second.
Fred?
Yes.
Celine?
Yes.
Anybody else? Motion to adjourn.
Made.
Second.
Fred?
Yes.
Celine?
Yes.
Oh, it was nice to meet you, AJ.
Oh, nice to meet you.
You have a good day.
You too.
Alright.
Over and see the car. I haven't been to that.
As far as that,
Been to that.
like, I'm gonna see the specs and all that other stuff. We went back through that thing with a couple times with Hunt and Wendling, mostly with Hunt. They had that thing is so screwed up on those prints, like as far as where they had marked who was supposed to unhook them initially and
Right.
and all that. That's where a
I'm
lot
just
of
look-
stuff really
yeah.
got screwed up.
I'm just looking at the verbiage on there, because on those prints, it says, no work shall be done on lots with no easement.
Well, I understand where you're coming from. I'm just saying, like, when we get into some of these other issues that we're trying to get into, get somewhat averted based on the amount of funds available.
Right.
Whether the people that came in the last, 13, 17 who are signed in.
Yeah.
Some of those were the first ones hooked up, which shouldn't have been.
Shouldn't have been.
Some of the
I
places
understand that.
were left off of there that should have been on there, like the garage over here and some
Right.
other places. They're
Right.
Just, it was a total screw up.
see you.
AJ, thank you, sir.
Sure thing.
I will give you a call and let you know what's going on.
I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
And trying to get to the bottom of some of that
Thanks,
stuff
Dave.
was just, it's just a mess. I don't know what the deal with Hunt was, but that was all screwed up. And Jason was trying to go off of what he was told,
And he
wasn't
can't.
told correctly.
I mean,
so
that's why
What's that?
they need to find that spec book.
Drive.
The spec book is like the Bible of
Yeah.
construct. I used to know that, so.
I understand. I'm just saying. It was,
I can't do
we try
nothing.
to get this situation resolved quite a while ago with some of these places, they should have been hooked up and
Oh,
different
yeah.
things to try to explain to them, and then put the council, it didn't really work very well exactly, so.
Well, you know, if we spend all the money and we still need stuff,
Yeah, it's gonna
the
come out of,
people that sign the easements late will have to repay their money.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know if they're all aware of that,
well,
or if they are, they're not
they should be aware of
They
it, but
should be aware of
yeah,
it.
or
All
not
right.
really aware
They
enough.
are.
thanks, Brian.
Yep.
I hope, you get on it.